This topic will all be about how to implement your own functions in Python. When writing code, you often need to reuse the same sequence of statements over and over again. This creates redundancy in your code, making your program unnecessarily long and difficult to read. You have so far only written short programs. However, programs easily grow up to a size difficult to manage. Just writing one huge block of code makes it difficult to identify which different parts your program actually have. Functions are used to both reduce redundant code in a program and to split your program into blocks, making the program easier to write and read. A function is a named block of code that performs one specific task. A function has parameters, which makes it possible to take values, called arguments, from the main program as input. The function thereafter performs some operations based on those values and commonly returns a result to the main program. You have seen several built-in functions such as print and len. Now, you will learn how to write your own functions. In Python, a function contains a header line and a body. The header line starts with the keyword def, which informs Python that you are defining a function. After def follows the name of the function and parentheses. The header line always ends with colon. After the header line follows the body. The body consists of a code block, with one or more statements performing a specific task. The body should always be indented with 4 spaces from the header line. The name of the function should explain the function's task. Try to choose a name that is short, about 1 to 3 words, and descriptive. You can use almost any name for a function. However, there are some exceptions. The name must start with a letter or underscore. You cannot use any Python keywords, such as print, def, or true. The name must also follow the rules for legal identifiers. There are some good practices in naming functions. For example, it is preferred that the name only contains lowercase letters and that words are separated with underscore. It is also recommended to avoid names of Python built-in functions, such as print and len, since you then will overwrite the built-in function when running your program. There is a style guide called PEP 8 for Python code, which is not mandatory to follow but is good practice. You can pass information to a function using parameters. The input value given to the function is called an argument. For example, when using the print function, you state which variable you want to print. The print function has the parameter objects, and the variable given when calling print is the argument sent to the function. You state which parameters a function has within the parentheses in the header line of the function. The parameters can be any variables from the main program you want to send to the function. In order to send variables back to your main program, you need to tell Python to do this. This is done using a return statement. Last in the function comes the return statement. After return, you write which variables the function should return to main program. You can return as many variables as you want. When returning multiple variables, the variables should be separated with comma. When you want to use a function, you need to call it. To use the print function, you write print followed by parentheses. When you execute the print statement, Python finds the function with the name print and executes the statements in the function. Even though you do not see this function, it works in the same way as the functions you write yourself. You execute a function by writing the name of the function followed by parentheses. The function always needs to be written before it is used in the program. Usually, all functions are written before the main block of code. In this example, the function is written before the actual function call. The name of the function is square_x, and it has a parameter named x. After the function comes the function call, and the argument 5 is sent to the function. When calling a function, you should state which parameters that should be sent to the function. If you forget to pass the required parameters, it will result in an error. There are 2 ways of specifying arguments when calling a function. 1. You specify the arguments in the order of which the parameters appear in the header line of the function. 2. You can call a function with the arguments given in a different order by using the names of the parameters. Look at the following example, where we have a function with the parameters name and age as input. In the first function call, the arguments are given in the order as they appear in the header line. This means that the word stitch will be stored in the function variable name, and the integer 3 will be stored in the function variable age. In the second function call, the arguments are not given in the order as specified in the header line. But since we, in the function call, assign the arguments to the parameter variables directly, the word stitch will be stored in variable name and integer 3 in variable age. The variables with the stored data can thereafter be used within the function. It is possible to set default values to parameters. This is done when specifying the parameters in the header line of the function. For example, if the parameter age is set to the default value 20, it is possible to call the function with only the parameter name. If I want the age parameter to have a different value, I need to specify that when calling the function. The variables and parameters within a function are local, meaning that they only exist within the function. Any variables that are changed within the body of the function will not affect the variables in the main program. To access the value of a function variable from outside the function, the variable must be returned to the main program by using the return statement. In the example on this slide, the function calculates the square of a number. In the function, the variable z is defined, but z is not returned to the main program. Therefore, z cannot be used in the main program. When trying to print the content of z in the main program, that is, in the last statement of the program, it will generate a syntax error called name error. Functions can also call other functions, meaning that you can use other functions within your function. In this example, the functions square underscore x and divide underscore x are implemented. The first function squares a number sent to the function, and the second divides the number with 2. The third implemented function, called sq underscore and underscore div, calls upon the first 2 functions. The input argument sent to the third function is also sent to function 1 and 2 when calling upon them. Function 1 and 2 returns a number, which are handled by return variables within the third function, that is the x underscore sq and x underscore dv variables. These variables are returned by the function as the last statement in the function. It is important to keep in mind the flow of execution, especially when working with functions. The flow of execution is in which order the statements in your main program are executed. You should always read code according to the flow of execution. Execution always starts at the first statement of the program. Statements are executed one at a time, from top to bottom. Functions do not alter the flow of execution. When the program reaches a function call, the flow jumps to the first line of the function. When a function is called, the statements of the function are executed. When the function completes, the program picks up where it left off. On this slide is an example of the flow of execution in a short program containing 3 functions. 1. The program actual starts with the first function call. That is, when calling upon the function named sq underscore and underscore dvals. 2. This will execute the function call of the function named square underscore x. 3. The function named divide underscore x is executed as it is called upon next. 4. The function returns 2 variables. And 5. These variables are used in a print statement last in the program. When starting writing a program, it is important to know which tasks the program should perform. A good way to start is to decide the main functions your program should contain from the beginning. In that way, you get a good overview of what you need to write. Break down large problems into smaller sub-problems. Try to hide complex computations behind a single command by implementing functions. Then you start with writing your program one function at a time. Always check that a function works before moving on to writing the next part of your program. Functions makes your code easier. Write, read, test, and fix. In conclusion, functions makes your code easier to write by making you focus on one part of the problem at once. To read, by naming parts of your code with explanatory names, it will be easier to understand both for other people and yourself. To test, as it is easier to test a small part of the code than the entire program at once. To fix, by making it easier to find the errors in your program. This example shows the implementation of a more complex function. The purpose of the function, named protein_weight, is to calculate the molecular weight of a protein sequence. The molecular weight of a protein is approximately the sum of the molecular weights of the individual amino acids in the protein sequence. We will only consider the amino acids A, C, G, H, and I in this example, for simplicity. The molecular weights are for A, 89.1 gram per mole, for C, 121.2 gram per mole, for G, 75.1 gram per mole, for H, 155.2 gram per mole, and for I, it is 131.2 gram per mole. The program starts with calling upon this function and giving as argument a protein sequence as a string. Within the function, the string is converted to all uppercase letters. A dictionary has been created in the function, where the keys are the amino acids and the values, each amino acid's weight. Thereafter, the total weight is calculated by iterating over the string and extracting the weight of the current amino acid from the dictionary. Last in the function, the calculated total weight is returned. Thereafter, the execution is returned to the main program, which continues with a print statement including the returned calculated weight.